Streetnet is like the equivalent of an international trade union, a global union federation, but in the informal economy, in particular the sector of street vendors and market vendors. So we have about 54 organizations from 49 countries, and those organizations are all representing street vendors and informal market vendors. And our aim is to give them a platform for international solidarity, and the other aim is to build their capacity to represent their members more effectively, particularly in relation to authorities, so that they can protect their livelihoods. So it's like a trade unionism, but in the sector of informal street and market vendors. So Streetnet's natural allies in the world are the trade union movement. And even though the trade union movement started from a base of organizing only workers who have employers, actually their job is to organize all workers, including those that don't have employers, who are self-employed. And so when it comes to working in East Africa, we looked for a partnership that represented the trade unions in the region, and of course that was Eatuc. Then started to work together. So because they now represent different trade union federations in the East African countries, so their unions are facing the challenge of extending their scope to those kind of workers that traditionally were not organized by unions. But as trade unions, it's their job actually to cover even those new types of work that they hadn't organized before. So it means that there's a common area that we have to organize and they also have to organize. So that's why it made more sense for us to work together in a partnership.
The partnership with Eatuc and Streetnet is basically under our strategy of organizing the informal economy. And since for us, Eatuc, it's been a new area, though at the national level we've had some affiliates that have already been organizing in the informal economy. But we also wanted to learn from what Streetnet is doing, because Streetnet basically organizes a very peculiar informal economy sector, which is the street vendors, one of the most difficult group to organize. And we thought they bring some kind of experiences that we would share in terms of organizing, negotiating, and the kind of services they give to their members. Because one of the key strategies of Eatuc's work is also, providing a platform for our affiliates or our members to be able to share experiences with not only other trade unions, but other like-minded institutions, and Streetnet has been one of that institution with regards to the informal economy.
Transforming the informal to the formal is something which internationally we've been working on coincidentally at the same time, because the International Labour Organization adopted a new recommendation which is called Transitions from the Formal to the Informal. It's now called Recommendation 204. It was adopted in 2015, so towards the beginning of this project. That provided a framework for a general widespread task of transforming the informal, but not in a unilateral way that works against the interests of informal workers, in an inclusive way that actually works in their interest. So obviously everything that we've done in this project has been along the lines of that new task. I think anything that's done in the informal economy from now onwards will fall under that banner of the transformation, because when informal workers have demands, you'll find that they might not call it formalization, but it'll be an element of formalization. If they ask for being recognized by the laws, that's part of formalization, because they don't want to be outside the laws anymore. If they want to be covered by Social Security, that's formalization. They don't want to be outside the Social Security coverage. So every issue that benefits the workers in the informal economy by taking care of them instead of ignoring them is part of the formalization agenda. So this falls within that agenda, but it's not the whole of that agenda. But definitely, because at the same time we were doing this work, we adopt the same framework, and Eatuc and Streetnet were both involved in giving inputs for that new recommendation. So we have adopted the framework of that project.
One of the key goals of this partnership is to basically learn from each other. And for us as Eatuc is also giving us an opportunity to document some best practices that are out there on specifically 3 areas. That's strategies of organizing informal economy, strategies or new methods of collective bargaining within the informal economy, and services to our members. What kind of services do our unions or Streetnet affiliates give to their members? So we are looking at learning around those 3 areas, as I've mentioned, organizing, collective bargaining, and services to members. So we are hoping to actually document it, because organizing informal economy is not a one suit fit all. You cut the suit that will fit you according to your size. So by putting out those strategies out to our members can cherry pick, mix and match, domesticate those strategies to meet or to suit their country specific situations.
Well, talking about the street traders first, the negotiation skills training that we've done, the feedback we've had so far is that the first successful results that they've had is to successfully negotiate for certain Sunday markets to be made available in Kampala. Now those markets are the livelihoods of several people, a much larger number of people than the actual people who were directly involved. So it means that those vendors on those 2 streets of Kampala have had an immediate result, which is a secure, having a secure livelihood is a big issue with street vendors, because being harassed and chased off the street disturbs your ability to earn. When you've been given a certain place and you can sell in peace, you do better. So that's just an initial result. Now, if we are going to be able to multiply that, it means a large number of people's livelihoods will have been affected. So the initial results show us that it's possible, if we carry on doing this, we could affect more people. On the regional level, we estimate that about 80% of workers in the East African region are in the informal economy. So having well-organized workers in the informal economy, not only in our sector, which is the sector of street vendors and informal traders, but other sectors that the trade unions are also working with, like transport workers, some of the agricultural workers who work on an informal basis, etc. If those informal workers are able to earn better livelihoods, that is bound to have an impact on the economy overall, because increasing the standard of living of one of the largest but poorest sectors of the workforce in the region is one of the key ways to improve the economy of the region. When it comes to measuring it, we'll probably have to bring some of our statisticians and people like that in to do some measuring. But by having these activities recorded, they probably will be able to come in and do some sort of measurements. At the moment, we're still in the piloting phase, but I think we will eventually want to measure what's exactly the measurement of the result. So we've got a process in mind of how it would work, and the actual measuring, we'll have to bring some of those technical experts in for that.
Yes, we have recorded some successes. Basically, one of the success that we've recorded is with our affiliate in Uganda, because that was one of the affiliates that we did a lot of work, and it's also one of the Eatuc affiliates that had done so much in organizing the informal economy. They have amended their constitution to include informal economy. They have informal economy representative within their executive council. They have a committee that works specifically on the informal economy, and within a very short period of time, in less than half a year, they were able to organize more than 10 associations of informal economy. So learning from Uganda, we've had some exchange programs between our Ugandan affiliates and the Kenyan affiliates, and our Ugandan affiliates and the Rwandese affiliates, to try and, tell them that organizing informal economy is not something that cannot be done. NOTU is already doing it. So by NOTU acting as a big brother in organizing informal economy, it gives us practical experiences of unions that are organizing informal economy and have successfully done it within a short period of time. What we need to focus now is how do we maintain that momentum, and how do we ensure that the best practice that are being learned in Kenya and in Rwanda are actually being implemented and also being replicated further to our affiliates in Tanzania and in Burundi.
Well, as a result of this work, Eatuc has also, I would say, built up its program of work for organizing in the informal economy, and it's put a lot of pressure onto its affiliates. And the work in this project has given them some, a boost in doing that. Now that gives them a boost as well when they're sitting in EAC meetings to make certain representations to the region about what should happen based on work that's actually happening on the ground. And I think that that's going to... The region always takes a bit longer to react. So the results that we've seen so far have been at country level. Having had a similar experience about 5-6 years before in the SADC region, we managed to finally in the SADC region get a resolution passed by the Ministers of Labour of SADC about the informal economy. And I am very optimistic we're going to get to that point in the EAC region. We've only been going for 2 years, and the SADC one took us about 4 or 5 years to get there. And I think we're well on the way to getting there, whereby we start to see certain clauses or resolutions or protocols in the East African community, specifically focusing on the informal. And the content of those protocols usually comes from the work that we do together. The one in SADC, the content of that protocol is an almost direct copy of the initial declaration that Streetnet and Eatuc did. So it means that when the government start looking at it, at least it's not their bad ideas that get in there, they take them from us, and that's a big advantage. Because for the workers, it's good that what comes into those protocols is something that came from them. So I'm optimistic that in the next couple of years, we will also get to that point, because I think we've built the foundation for that.